So I already finished with the projection. So as you can see, I have all the side pretty much projected into this 2D view. Okay, now another thing that you need to do is that it's pretty hard to kind of like eyeball the size, because again we need to make sure that everything have the roughly same size of the textile density. Okay, and again, textile density is very important. So what it means that how much pixel that you can put in that UV map or that UV area. That is how much dense is that checker pattern that you can fit in. Okay, so again, this one is a good one and this is the bad one. And as you can see, this one have a lesser checker pattern as compared to this guy around here. So when you put the texture, this one will become very dense and this one very blurry. Okay, so it's inconsistent and it's incorrect, and you should always go for this one. Okay, so all the resolution or all the texture resolution here are roughly the same. Okay, now going back here, sometimes it's very hard to kind of eyeball, right? And you don't get the correct scale. Okay, so there is a good tool to let you do that. Okay, so if you scroll down to tool, right? Tool. Okay, or before that, like to open this, you need to go to tools and then like show UV toolkit, and this will be open, and yeah, you're gonna get something like this. Now, I'm going to use this one as the master one, right? So I'm assuming it's just going to be in the correct scale, and everybody will follow this guy's scale or size. Okay, so the first thing you do is you open tool, right, and make sure you set the correct resolution. Okay, so in this case I'll be using 2000. Okay, so for most of the assignment and exercises, I'm just going to be using this 2K resolution. Okay, so it's 2048. Now I'm going to press get, right? So when I press get, so Maya will calculate like how many pixels are in this shell, right? And it will get me the value, right? So it's 487 dot whatever. Okay, now for his neighbor to have the same exact textile density of this guy, you just need to select him, right, and just press set. Okay, and you can see like this guy and that guy, right? Okay, I'll show you, will have the same size of the UV or the checker pattern. Okay, and again, so if I make this bigger, you can see like it will get a scale accordingly. So select him and just press set, so him and him will have the same exact UV scale. Okay, it tells you like there are this many like texel in that UV shell. And again, you can also like press or select all these guys together. So assuming like this is quite big, I can just select together and just press set, and it will rescale accordingly. Okay, so that's it about the textile density. So make sure everybody will have the same size, okay, roughly same size. Okay, now moving on, we need to stitch all these patches or shell. Okay, because if you don't, you're gonna end up with pretty bad like UV seam like here. Okay, so we try to minimize the seam problem by stitching all these together. Okay, now when I click the edge, right, Maya will highlight the other corresponding edge where it's supposed to be connected, because if you look at this object, right, or this line is actually shared by him and him, right? If you select this particular line, same thing with this edge, right? So this line is also belong to him and also belong to him. That's why like whenever you select this line, share and it's moved together. Okay, so select this and this, right? Then you can stitch them together. Okay, move and insert. Okay, now like these are stitched together. Okay, and you can click him. Now you notice that if you, I mean, in my case, like if I select this, the edge that is corresponding for that one, right, it's actually like on this side, so it's not him. So if you try to join these two edges together, it will not join together because this edge is not supposed to connect to that guy. It's supposed to be connecting with this edge. Okay, so again, just like this, and you stitch them. Okay, now in some cases you might have to rotate whatever and move closer so the stitch will be done properly. Okay, so you might need to go to transform and rotate and like just rotate. Okay, now it should be okay. Okay, and you can like stitch them. Okay, this one and that one is okay, so I can press G, right? And again, if you try to select the whole thing and stitch, then everything like, yeah, messed up. Okay, so there is no other way, so other than manual. So in this case, you have to do it manually, like stitch them, and this one and that one, and stitch them together. Okay, now if you see some like inconsistency like this, maybe, right, you can try to align them, right? You can either use like scale tool to kind of align, right? So I'm using scale tool, and everything's aligned. Or you can also use a different method. Okay, so if you go to align and snap, right, you can select all these UV, align to the left, and I get like pretty much straight line. And same thing with this one. Okay, and this one, align to the top. This one I can press G to repeat, and that to repeat, and I get pretty much the same like alignment. Okay, now another thing, right, to keep in mind is that whenever you want to export, because now that you already finished with the stitching, everything looks good, is that make sure everything is in this region, right? So it's the 0, 0, and then this is like 1, 1. So it's 0 to 1 region like this. Okay, so if you place your UV shell like outside like that, so these little pieces will get cropped and it will not be shown, and you can put a texture. Okay, so be mindful about the placement of the UV shell. Okay, so make sure it's inside the border. Okay, don't put too close to the border like this one, so there might be a time that you might get cropped and it will not be able to put a texture. Okay, so just enough like that. Okay, yeah, so just keep a bit of gap. Okay, now the idea of that, okay, so we call this like canvas, is that we try to maximize its space. Okay, so you don't try to put too small, right, because you're gonna waste a lot of these spaces, okay, where you could have like put more texture, so resulting in like a better texture resolution, but your UV map is too small. So what we want is something like sensible, like maybe around this size, not too big and then not too small. Alright, we try to maximize the usage of that one. Okay, there's a bit of gap, so you can still like increase if you want. Okay, but just not touching, because it might like messed up with the UV texturing process later. Okay, and another thing is that most people like they messed up when they export the UV, right? Because they mistakenly like put the UV shell here, right? Because again, Maya will only export this UV in this region for now, right? And this one is outside the boundary, then like it cannot be, and always resulting in a black file. Okay, so make sure like you put the UV in its 0 to 1 region, and if you're not sure what it is, just make sure like when you export, there is this colorful, there's this green, and there is this red color as an indicator. And now you're in a correct region. Okay, you don't want to put here. Here also will not work. Put here also not work. Okay, so for now we'll put there, so it will replace them correctly. Okay, so to export, again, I select everything and I click this button, right, the camera button, and they will ask you like where to export your UV shell, okay, or the UV map. Okay, I'm gonna browse. Okay, so again, I'm gonna put in this folder, right? I want to put the UV. Okay, I'm gonna rename UV underscore crate PNG. I'm gonna press save. Right? Do you want to replace? Yes. And I changed the file format, right, to PNG. Okay, and the resolution, as I mentioned before, I'll be using 2K, so it's 2048. Okay, and make sure you type this with .png, otherwise it will mess up, right? .png. And once you finish, right, you press apply, and you're gonna get, okay, do you want to overwrite? Yes, I want to overwrite. And if you successfully export the UV map, you're gonna get this message, okay, with the black color background in the message box. Now, I've seen a lot of people like make a mistake, like in export the UV. So if you make a mistake or there's an error happening when you export the file, you're gonna get something like this. Okay, red. So red in this message box indicating like there's something wrong with whatever you're doing. Okay, so in this case it says like you must select object or whatever. Now every time I teach, right, at least half of the class like gonna get this error. Okay, so what it means, like you must, okay, just read, you must select object or polygon or NURBS or UV to be export. Most people forget to select the UV when they export. Okay, and that's why you get that error. Okay, so every time you export the UV, you must right click, go to UV and select which UV you want to export. Okay, select everything like that, then you export as per normal, then you'll be okay. Okay, most people forget to select, then just export, then you're gonna get the error and the resulting black file when you open in Photoshop. Okay, so make sure you always select the UV before you export. Okay, and then press apply. Okay, and everything should be okay.